Yeah.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi. If you're new to the show, please hit the subscribe button. If you're not new to the show, please make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube will unsubscribe you. And regardless of where you fall, please hit the like button on your way in. This video will not include a lot of B-roll, a lot of clips from Candace's live yesterday, because I don't want to make this too long. If I wanted to do a long video, then I could have just went live. And the only reason this is no longer alive is because I wanted to condense this information, get it to you as quick as possible, get straight to the point, the meat and potatoes. And I plan to go live later today with an investigative journalist who has sent some information to Mikey McCoy in Turning Point USA about a potential class action lawsuit. And so I'm just waiting for his response. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, this ended. I was scheduled to go live yesterday, and I just wanted to collect my thoughts because I have mixed feelings about yesterday's video. I took some notes, so let me just go down the list of things. Let's just start with the intro. I was not a big fan of the intro with the music and the dancing and all of that. And not that Candace Owens or Erika Kirk needs me to explain this to them. Of course, who am I? But we can't lose sight of the fact that somebody actually lost their life, right? Somebody actually passed away, right? That was your friend and your husband, right? So that being Erika being the wife and Candace being the friend. So I'm saying it because the intro to this podcast was it gave playful energy. This is no longer about actually trying to figure out about the corruption. Let me just go after the trolls. They're just as, if not even more important than potential government corruption, cover-ups that we the people are sick and tired of. I did like the fact that she wanted to actually address the trolls and say, hey, I see what you all are saying online about she's flipped and she's a shield and she's gonna change her tune, and she was always a shield for Israel, and they're gonna make her change her tune now to get people to rally behind them. So I did like that she'll address this, kind of like how she's addressed Freemasonry in the past. I just think that looks great on Candace's side, as far as like not appearing as if she's controlled opposition for those of us that have entertained that possibility. Because one thing I will say is they'll never talk about Freemasonry. Those that are actually controlled op will stay far and clear away from that topic, and you give credit where it's due. Candace has talked about that. So I do like that she wanted to address what she's seen and how ridiculous the claims are. And for the record, I don't think that Candace is flipped. All right. I don't think she's quote unquote changing her tune, but I do think that she sounded different. She wasn't as passionate, right? She wasn't as fired up as she usually is. And maybe because some of the questions was answered. I don't know. But I do have quite a few critical things to say, a long list of critical things to say about both Candace and TPUSA's side regarding this private meeting and the way in which it's been handled and discussed. And I do have some good things as well. And I'm going to start off with the good things. Candace revealed that her source is Andrew COVID. I think that was great. Now these critics and these liars can stop saying that she's making things up. She don't have an actual source, because not only has her source been revealed as Andrew COVID, which she had already revealed on the Jimmy Dore interview YouTube channel days prior, but she said Andrew COVID's name once before on her podcast as well. Now we know that Andrew COVID is the person that has told Candace Owens at least a couple of some of the biggest claims that she's made, being one of her Turning Point USA quote unquote sources. But that's also weird though, because when you look at Andrew COVID's behavior, he's been quote unquote debunking or refuting some of the claims that Candace Owens has been making, which is it just makes this whole situation weirder and stranger. It's like you're telling Candace these things, you're warning Candace that her and Tucker are next, but you're also sending her information off the record. It's like, what's going on here? So I like the fact that source has been revealed, but it also speaks to Candace's character, which her critics will never give her credit for that. But the fact that Andrew COVID wouldn't come out and say that it was him, and she gave this person her word that no matter what, she wasn't going to reveal him, and she waited up until this point before she did so. So I think that speaks to her character, that she kept her word despite the fact that Andrew COVID has been too afraid to stand on the very things that he was telling her off the record. But it begs the question, why was he lying about this, right? Is he afraid for his life? What's really going on here? When he said that Tucker and Candace should lay low, who was he alleging was coming after them next, right? I wasn't a fan of Candace Owens starting off the show saying Shabbat Shalom as well, because if you just had a 4.5 hour conversation with Erika Kirk, I'm not saying that you should be best friends or y'all are not close friends, but The woman was married to your best friend, one of your best friends, right? The woman did a 10-year wedding, right? And if y'all both left the meeting saying that we left on great terms and it was very productive, but then you go on your podcast after the fact and you say Shabbat Shalom, which we all know is something that Erika Kirk was being teased about all over the internet, it just comes off like you're trolling Erika Kirk. Now, for those of you that want to say, well, why shouldn't she troll? Why should she be defending? I will be with you if the rest of the interview didn't seem that way. It still seemed like Candace before of finding the best way to frame things where Erika Kirk is completely off limits or something, or as if there's no possible angle there. We don't know that. I'm not saying that there is, but we should be speaking as if there isn't anything there. Because as my channel and other channels have shown, there's at least probable cause, which we're going to get into here in just a moment. But also her saying, a lot of you all were telling me not to drink water, bring my own water, because they may try to poison me. Why would you say that? It just comes off like a game. It comes off like theater. Like, is this serious? Did somebody really lose their life? Or did they not? Is this about coming up with the most catchiest, the most fanciest intros to your podcast? Or is it about getting down to the facts? Who cares about the trolls? That's weird to me, especially when you have almost 350,000 live viewers that will go on to watch you in this episode. I think if you want to be taken serious, sticking to the facts about what happened to your friend is what's most important. And for those of you that don't know, Candace Owens would actually go on to Instagram and she would do an Instagram live where she addressed and answered more questions, which I thought was very honorable for her to do. Don't know why you couldn't just extend it on YouTube, maybe because she has a team and that would mean she would have to pay them. So maybe this was easier. But one of the most important things from this live was the Doge audit. This is another great takeaway. She said that Tyler Boyer, TPUSA, owned the fact that they actually weren't telling the truth when they previously said that a Doge audit is something that they've done before in the past, when in fact, it's not something that they've never done before, that they've ever done before in the past.
I should have thought about that, but I feel like that's more like a Fed question, and I was trying to focus on like Turning Point USA questions. Did they address the issues with the finances and taxes? They brought an entire tax document thing for me to look through. I'm not an accountant, which is why I haven't spent much time talking about their finances other than the Doge thing, which I was like, that was a weird lie. I don't understand like why Tyler would say that that's like something that he had always done. And they owned that that was not something that they had always done. So again, this is the stuff why I feel like we could have benefited from doing a public like live stream, because they did own a lot of the stuff.
So Candace Owens getting them to admit that is another W. But I would like to say, how is that not something that you will remember to mention on your podcast? Because that's kind of one of the most important factors here, which leads me to my next point. If you and Turning Point USA agreed not to record the interview in good faith, audio or video version, which by the way, why was this private? It looks suspicious on both sides. Why is it private? You were originally supposed to, TPUSA, you actually deserve more heat here. You originally was going to meet with Candace over a live stream the same day, but now it turns into a private meeting. So now we really have no idea what was actually said. But if you're going to meet in private, you're not going to audio or video record the meeting. Wouldn't it make the most sense to have a note taker, right? A person that jots down what was discussed, the most important parts. But instead, you have a 4.5-hour conversation with Erika Kirk, Justin Strife, and the attorneys. Without your attorneys present, I'm assuming as well, which is also weird to me. To then come on a podcast and spend about essentially 35 minutes trying to cramp in as much as possible from a 4.5-hour conversation off freaking memory, Candace. I'm sure other things are going to come to me. What do you mean come to you? This stuff should be jotted down. This should be organized. Everything should have been documented. So it's great that she got them to admit about the Doge audit, but it's weird that this is just confusing, bro. Which leads me to my first big criticism of TPUSA. You met with Candace Owens just to tell Candace Owens that you actually do not have any additional evidence, and the only evidence you have is what the public has already seen. Nothing new, nothing additional. Yet you're confident that Tyler Robinson was the lone power and he did this himself.
They have not seen anything that you have not seen, is what I want you to know. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling? Why do I feel like the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. The text messages, that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times it'll become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly. I've said that. I think he's involved. We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at. That is not what we are getting from them. That is like, I just feel like that's really important. I'll let you guys know, let the gaslighting stop. They have what you have, okay? There is nothing else. They are in an investigative stage. Erika has been named as the victim. They will know more in this May hearing, which is the probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me. It's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers, in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. And what I also said to them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer, because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you like you're 100% going to win, it's very clear that you're going to win, you need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader. That's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should 100% win, should be telling you the risks here. You know, I feel good about this case. Like, let me talk real to you. I feel good about this case, but here's where things could go wrong. I want you to understand those risks that are involved. We don't have this yet. We don't have that yet. And especially given what I told them, which is your lawyers, or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not the ones investigating. It's the state of Utah that's investigating. They have not called the one solitary person, as I told you guys, who filmed as he was on the roof. Remember the guy that's like, oh, there's somebody on the roof, and he sees him crouched down. I said, I spoke to that person, and his testimony would be devastating to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof. He filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m. and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution. And yet, investigators haven't reached out. Now, they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video. And that's true. That's actually a good rebuttal. They're like, we don't even have to talk to this guy because the video will speak for itself, and we saw what we saw. Okay, but wouldn't you still want to speak to the other guy so you could prepare? I don't know, to question him something. I don't like that this investigation is going on, and I feel as though I spoke to more people than they have. Both of the people who filmed videos that day told me that they weren't reached out to. So I don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand the confidence, I guess, is the best way to say this. I told them I do not understand the confidence that is happening.
That makes no sense. Why would you even meet with Candace? Why would you agree to meet with Candace if you have nothing major to offer? Which leads me to the Mikey McCoy thing. Candace says that they showed her Mikey McCoy's call log. I'm not buying it. There's a few problems here. So apparently, according to what Candace said, Mikey McCoy was on a three-way call at some point. Mikey's wife, and then Erika Kirk. So when did he call Rob McCoy? Was that discussed as well? Maybe I missed that. But it doesn't matter because regardless of who he's on the phone with, it doesn't change or explain or alleviate his odd behavior on camera. He turned around in less than a second, which means that he didn't even have time to see what happened. Somebody needs to explain that. It doesn't matter who you called, and it doesn't explain the fact that we never see him dial anybody on the phone. Candace, did you forget about that part? The phone was down. Pow, phone up to his ear, he walks off. There's only so many explanations that can explain why you would turn around in 0.84 of a second. It's not enough time to see what happened. So that gives people to believe that you have foreknowledge. And if you want to alleviate the idea, the rumor, the possibility that you have foreknowledge, provide us your call log. Not in a private meeting with Candace Owens. Let the world see. Blake Neff immediately provided his call log. He called his mom. Why has Mikey McCoy not done it? Every post that he's made, everyone's asking his critics, his supporters, some of the donors are asking to see the call log. He's yet to reveal that even to this day. I don't care about whatever they chose to show Candace in person. That could have been fake. Release it on the internet so we can see if it's been photoshopped, if it's been AI generated. But you show it to Candace in private, which, by the way, I'm not saying that this is my belief. If it was my belief, I will wholeheartedly tell you that. I'm saying that it's not my belief. It's a possibility. And the possibility is, one of the possibilities, or the facts of the matter is that when people commit crimes or see out crimes being committed that they're a part of, a lot of times they call their accomplice. They call the head honcho to let them know the job has been completed, to let them know the psyop has been orchestrated. That's a fact. I'm not a pro, I'm not an expert, but I've been covering psyops for like 6 years now. So simply showing us that, oh no, he really did call Erika. He really did call his wife. Proves what? Explain to us, why did you turn around so fast? I'm not even a part of the camp saying that you should have ran towards Charlie to help him. No, he had a security team. And the truth of the matter is most people will be too afraid to run towards gunfire. Once they see red liquid, some people freak out. Some people will pass out. So I'm not even saying you should have been a superhero, but you turned around in record timing, dude. And why is everybody else speaking for Mikey McCoy but Mikey McCoy? Where is he at? He's the chief of staff. That comes with a certain level of responsibility and accountability. I don't know why they would not be pressed on that if you're Candace. Another red flag. They first asked Candace Owens, did she have a copy of Charlie's message to Dan Flood saying that someone was going to pow or take him out the following day? Candace then tells them, according to Candace, no, I don't have a copy. It was only until then they tell her, okay, turns out Erika was wrong. Charlie uses Telegram and other apps, iMessage, things of that sort, and she didn't see the messages originally. Turns out Charlie Kirk did send that message, but he said that it was the left that was going to take him out. They only say that after Candace has confirmed that she doesn't have a copy. Did Charlie Kirk actually say that the left was going to do that? And an even more important question, why would Charlie Kirk believe that the left is going to take him out? He's not meeting with the left. He has a security team. So why would he feel that they will be able to get to him? That makes no sense. This comes moments after, or not long after, the Hamptons meeting, where his quote-unquote friend like Josh Hammer, who's tweeting about public executions, who's lying about what Charlie believed and said the same day and the following day. Why would Charlie Kirk believe the left was going to do this? I don't believe them. That's what that means. I don't believe them. Another weird thing from this is that Candace said that Erika stated that the only reason she didn't ask Candace Owens to stop early on is because Erika was actually learning from Candace Owens. So this makes no sense to me, because if this is the case, so you're listening to her, but you never reach out to her. Y'all aren't talking behind the scenes. You're just watching from afar. This person that you've met in real life, this person that's making every episode about your husband, you don't reach out one time to tell her, I agree with this. I like this. I'm not so sure about this. Y'all aren't talking at all, is what you want us to believe. Okay. So you're watching from afar. Okay. But then Candace Owens goes on to say, and then Erika Kirk, much like Candace, understood that Barry Weiss was trying to take some things and frame it in a way where they can have content. And it was only until the end where Erika felt the need to respond and tell Candace to stop. What? That makes no sense. Because first and foremost, Candace, you deserve criticism here too. Because stop making this about just Barry Weiss. There was two people sitting there. The other person is Erika Kirk. Why are we constantly framing things as if Erika Kirk is untouchable? Unless it's only Erika Kirk, the CEO. That's weird to me. Like, we have to be objective. The number one suspect in most pow-powings is going to be the spouse. Once you can alleviate that person is clear and innocent, you move on. We haven't been able to do that. So I don't understand this framing of only protecting and avoiding the Erika thing. If you can say in the same episode that Rob McCoy gives you the heebie-jeebies, that you found out that Rob McCoy actually doesn't even work for TPUSA, and that he gives you the heebie-jeebies simply by just looking at him, which I don't think is the best thing to be doing in an episode where you're trying to debunk people claiming that you don't have evidence. If you're going to say that, couple that with the things that Rob McCoy has been found to be lying about. I think that would help the argument. But if you can say that he, no matter what, nobody can change your mind, him and Tyler Boyer gives you the heebie-jeebies simply by looking at them. Okay. You mean to tell me with a straight face you don't feel the same way about Erika Kirk? Her behavior has been light years more weird, suspicious, and odd than Rob McCoy, and it's not even close. And one could argue simply by looking at her in some cases. There's unlimited amount of content at this point about Erika. But okay, we're gonna avoid that. We're gonna pretend like Nah, this was on Barry Rice and how they're framing it. Yeah, Erika knew about the questions beforehand, but it was all Barry Rice's doing. Okay, because it still doesn't help the fact that Erika chose to take that moment in the most theatrical manner and say, stop. I don't know. A lot of you all come to this channel because you know I'm going to be objective and I'm going to tell you the truth. And if that means I agree with the person one day and I disagree with them the next day, I'm going to be real about that. It doesn't mean that I disagree with everything that I've ever said that I've agreed with them in the past about. No, it just means like this one thing, I'm not feeling it. I don't feel that Candace is flipped. I don't feel that Candace is in on it. I don't believe that she's a shield. I believe there are some fair criticisms about Candace's past, about her marriage, that I think if you're Candace, it's understandable why people will be suspicious about it. However, this was underwhelming. That's how I would describe it. And I believe that it's safe to say that it's led to even more questions, right? Just more questions. I'm not going to say that it was a disappointment. It's just, I would have imagined this would have been way more organized. And I still can't get over the fact that this was private. You want me to believe that either one or two things wasn't taking place. Candace Owens and Erika Kirk wasn't talking behind the scenes already, even though they have each other's information, could easily get each other's information. Why would you not talk? One DM would suffice, even if you disagree with each other. It's not until now you decide to do this and you only do it in private where people can't see what's being said. If TPUSA say, I want a private conversation, if you're Candace, you say, no, let's make this public. If you're Candace Owens telling them, I want a private conversation. If you're TPUSA, you say, no, let's make this public. Live for everybody to see. And whatever party says that, no, I want to do this in private, that's the one that's suspicious, including Candace. Why do you only want to do this in private? Why would you agree to do this in private? That's weird on both sides. It is. I don't care that you choose to report back. It's not only Candace Owens that needs to know what truly happened here. It's the rest of us. It's not only Candace Owens that needs transparency. It's the country that wants transparency. The people want transparency. And hearing third party, no. And then there's allegedly a lawsuit from an ex-Turning Point USA employee for SA, some young boy, and kidnapping. Not to mention the lawsuit that I mentioned earlier that was allegedly a warning was sent to Mikey McCoy that this lawsuit is pending. Class action lawsuit is pending and is allegedly going to be served to them during AmFest. I don't know. Some good things came from this for sure, but the biggest red flag is the fact that they chose to do this privately, bro. Privately. I also feel like Candace sounded a little different, right? Not as passionate. And while I think she did a great job of sort of substantiating and getting to prove that the things that she's been saying, she's not making up out of thin air. Her critics will ignore that part. I think that's great. But I also think the people that's been supporting her, I think some of us was looking for something a bit different, something a little bit more wholesome, because we still have so many questions like, why would you show up to meet with Candace and you don't even have additional evidence? You only have what we have, what you believe Tyler did this. Why would you be believing that? That only, again, makes you look suspicious, TPUSA. But that's my takeaway. Y'all in the comment section, give me your thoughts, man. Hit the like button once again. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.